Hi, I'm Jennifer Walker Gates, board certified immigration attorney in Austin, Texas. And I'm here today in this video to talk about DACA. This is important because it's the end of 2020. We've come to the end of the Trump administration, which has been trying for several years to eliminate DACA and get rid of it. And now we have President-elect Joe Biden promising to restore DACA immediately when he takes office in January. So having DACA back in place is going to create a great opportunity for a lot of deserving immigrants who may have not been eligible to apply previously before it was ended for new applicants by the Trump administration, or who may have not been old enough to apply at that time, who have now turned 15 years old and can apply. So we're going to be talking today about the advantages of applying for DACA, the requirements for applying for DACA, and then I'll also share a list with you of a document that we've created at our firm to help our clients have a very clear list and idea of everything that is required to support their DACA application. So first, let's talk about why anyone should bother applying for DACA. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so here are the reasons that we encourage as many people as possible who qualify for DACA to apply. First of all, if you apply for DACA and you qualify, you receive what's called deferred action. Deferred action means immigration is not going to take action against you while you have the status. If you have DACA, that stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. That means you are protected from immigration enforcement while that status is in place. Now, that doesn't mean 100% protection. If you commit a crime or have some kind of criminal issue, unfortunately, DACA will not protect you from ICE enforcement in that case. But in general, it removes the problem of having no status whatsoever and gives you what's called deferred action status. It also provides work authorization. That allows you to work legally in the United States for any employer that may want to hire you. In addition to being able to work legally, you can also get a social security number that will be issued to you, that will be yours forever, a valid social security number. You can also get a driver's license in almost every state that issues them, as long as you have a work permit. You can also qualify for in-state tuition and scholarships if you have DACA. Having that status opens up a lot of opportunities for people professionally and in the and education that just may not exist otherwise. Finally, if you have DACA under the original format that was created by President Obama, you have the opportunity to apply for what's called Advance Parole. Advance Parole allows you to leave the United States and have advance permission to come back when you are ready to come back to the United States. This creates a lawful entry for you. So if you didn't have a lawful entry the first time you came to the United States, then having this later lawful entry is going to give you the opportunity to kind of erase that first unlawful entry, and it may enable you to qualify later on for residency status through marriage, perhaps to a US citizen, or perhaps through an adult US citizen child. There may be a number of ways that you could then later qualify for resident status if you do have that lawful entry. So getting DACA and getting advance parole is a great advantage for a lot of people. So what are the requirements to apply for DACA? First, you have to show that you were living in the United States before you turned 16 years old. That can be even the day before your 16th birthday. As long as you can prove that you got here before you turned 16 and you began living in the United States, then you qualify. Second, you have to show that you came to the United States before June 15th of 2007. Now, you may have left again since that time, but you have to show that you basically established your residence in the United States before that date. You have to show that you've been living in the US since June 15th of 2007 up to the current time. You can't have left and lived abroad for a very long time. Short absences are okay, but long periods of uninterrupted time outside the United States might disqualify you. You have to show that you were physically present here in the USA on June 15th of 2012, and that you didn't have status at that time. In other words, you weren't here on a visa of any type at that time. You also have to show that you're either right now in school, or you already have a diploma or a GED or an honorable discharge from the military or Coast Guard. If you're not in school and you've never attended school in the United States, you can enroll in adult education classes that may be leading you to a GED and qualify in that way to apply for DACA. It is not necessary that you have finished a GED program or a high school diploma in order to apply and qualify for DACA. So even if you don't necessarily think that you're ready to tackle the entire diploma or GED process, you can still enroll and just take a class. You better yourself in that way, you improve your skills, you improve your employment prospects, and you get qualified for DACA. Finally, you have to make sure that you don't have any disqualifying criminal convictions. Disqualifying criminal convictions include any felony, any significant misdemeanor, and significant misdemeanors are things like misdemeanor DWI and misdemeanor domestic violence. You also can't have more than 2 misdemeanors of any sort. So if you've ever had, a theft misdemeanor and a disorderly conduct misdemeanor, if you have 2, you're okay. But if you get a 3rd, you're disqualified. So it's really important to check that criminal history and make sure that you don't have anything that disqualifies you. At our law firm, we have created this document to help our clients keep track of everything that they need for their DACA case. If you would like to have a copy of this document, we're going to make it available beneath this video. There's going to be a link that says download items required. If you click on that, you'll be able to download this and you'll be able to use it for yourself. So let me just show you really quickly how it works. At the top, you'll see it says copies of identity documents. These are the identity documents that you should provide to immigration if you have them. Now, as you can see over here, this box right here is marked with an X, and that is the beneficiary or applicant's birth certificate. That is an absolute requirement with every DACA application. If you have a passport and visa, you should also provide copies of those. If you ever had a driver's license or a work permit, you should also provide copies of those. Now, if you download this, you can go into this little box right here and enter your name and where it says beneficiary/applicant, and then it will populate throughout with your name. You can also use these little check boxes right here to mark off what is required, what you're going to provide, and if you did provide them. This gives you just a good way to track what you need and what you have already turned in. As you can see, the boxes on the bottom part of this document are all checked as required. All of this documentation that's listed here is required. And so first of all, you have to have proof, as we said, of entry prior to the age of 16 and before June 15th of 2007. That can be proven with things like school records, vaccination records, or medical records. Now, to be clear, you don't have to provide all 3 of those things. You can provide any of them, any one of them, and that should suffice. You have to have proof of continuous residence in the USA since June 15th of 2007. Any of these documents listed here can provide that proof. And you should strive to provide some kind of evidence for each quarter of each year since 2007. So 2007 now was 13 years ago. So we're talking about a lot of documentation. The longer this program goes on, the more documentation you'll have to provide. However, this is only for first-time applications. Once you're ready to renew your DACA, if it expires in 2 years and you're ready to renew, you don't have to turn in all of this documentation again. Renewals are actually pretty quick and easy. If you've ever been arrested, you're going to need to provide all the documentation regarding your arrest, including police reports, indictment documents, conviction documents, if any, anything to show that what you were sentenced to and that you've complied with your sentence. If your case was dismissed, which hopefully it was, then you'll need to provide documents showing it was dismissed. So if you've ever been arrested and it doesn't disqualify you, just make sure you do provide all the documentation that is requested in order to support your application. You'll have to provide proof of physical presence on June 15th of 2012. Now, a lot of people have a hard time coming up with a piece of evidence from that specific date. You can also use evidence from around that date. So maybe you have a report card from around that date. Maybe you have a check stub from around that date. Maybe you have an email or a Facebook post from around June 15th of 2012. Any of those things will work so long as it's showing you were physically present in the United States on the day the DACA program was announced, June 15th, 2012. Proof of educational eligibility, again, high school diploma or GED will suffice, as will confirmation of current enrollment. So if you don't have your high school diploma or GED yet, if you enroll in a program, that can qualify you to apply. You'll have to collect your complete international travel history since coming to the United States. If you've ever left the United States since the first time you got here, you're going to need to provide the dates that you left and returned, as well as a complete address history since you got to the United States. Those are a little bit onerous, a little bit tricky to get together, but those are going to be required for your first-time DACA application. Passport pictures for yourself. Those are the little passport pictures that go inside your passport. They can be taken at any CVS or Walgreens. We also take them at our firm at Walker Gates Vela. So 2 of those are going to be required to be submitted with your application. You'll also need a certified translation of any document that's not already in English, and of course, a money order or check for $495 for USCIS, which is the fee for applying for DACA. So that's it. Again, if you would like to have a copy of this list, just hit that link that says download items required, put in your email address, and we'll send a copy of this to you. I hope that that's been helpful. Really excited to help as many deserving immigrants as possible apply for DACA and take advantage of all the benefits it provides to the immigrant community. So if we can help you do that, if you need to assess your eligibility or you need assistance filing and completing and filing your application, please reach out to us at Walker Gates Vela. We're more than happy to help. And I hope everyone stays safe and well. Goodbye.